Hi everyone, I'm just another online reviewer, and welcome back to another installment of A Different Vision. This is where I take an existing piece of media and reimagine it, showing you how I would do things differently. Today, we're concluding my version of the Multiverse Saga with Phase 6. This one's gonna be a bit tricky, because unlike Phases 4 and 5, Phase 6 has only just begun, and most of the projects haven't been released yet. So again, this is pretty much an alternate timeline of what could have been, which is very fitting given the topic. Let's do one last recap. No Disney Plus shows, What If being the only exception. No new franchises. Marvel will introduce major new characters post Secret Wars. The special presentations will be kept in, since they're one-offs. Lastly, I'm still using the same time frame as the original, which is from 2021 to 2027. From 2021 to 2022, Phase 4 consisted of 6 movies, 2 seasons of What If, and 1 special presentation. From 2023 to 2024, Phase 5 also consisted of the same number of projects. Okay, let's wrap up my revision of the MCU Multiverse Saga with Phase 6. Let's start wrapping things up with the first movie of Phase 6. Addressing the elephant in the room, Black Panther is the one major MCU character I haven't talked about yet, and for good reason. Chadwick Boseman sadly passed away in 2020, so no matter what plans I had for my revision, there was no way for him to be included. I don't want to recast T'Challa until after Secret Wars, but he's also too popular and important of a character to exclude from this saga. I kept thinking what the best course of action would be until it finally hit me. A lot of MCU fans have wanted at least one project set during the blip, and this will be the answer to that request. Not only does it work as a standalone sequel to the original Black Panther, but it also serves as a tribute to Boseman, since the characters in the movie would mourn T'Challa's absence the same way we did in real life. The movie would end the moment everyone is snapped back into existence, before it cuts to the portal scene from Endgame and we see Boseman's face one last time. The mid-credits scene would be a small tribute video of Chadwick Boseman, similar to the Fox tribute video from Deadpool and Wolverine. The after-credits scene shows Wakanda in the present day, when a portal suddenly opens in front of the royal palace, and the person stepping out is revealed to be Dr. Doom, before it cuts to black. Yep, Doom is finally setting his plan in motion, and crossing dimensions is just the first step. Speaking of interdimensional travel, let's talk about the second movie, of Phase 6. The movie is loosely based on the limited series of the same name. Changes would need to be made when adapting this story. In the comic, the main conflict is about dealing with the threat of the Phoenix Force. For the movie, the conflict could instead revolve around the incursions. Scarlet Witch would be the one member stuck in the middle, and be the link to both teams. Deadpool could also have a key role in bringing both teams together, since he already traveled to the main MCU Earth before. Plus, he would be the one to instigate the fight to justify the title. The first half would focus on the fight between the two teams, while the second half is when they put aside their differences and team up to fight the big threat. There's so many possibilities in terms of fan service with a project like this. My favorite example is when Anna Paquin's Rogue fights Brie Larson's Captain Marvel. Not only does she end up absorbing her powers, but she also becomes far more accurate to her comic counterpart. The movie ends with both teams now on good terms and having newfound respect for each other. The mid-credits scene shows Shuri and Okoye arriving at Avengers Tower, begging for everyone's help, and reveal that Wakanda has fallen. The after-credits scene shows another group of heroes arriving at Avengers Tower through a portal. Bucky notices one of them looks familiar and asks, "Steve?" Chris Evans officially returns to the MCU, but this time as the Human Torch, and asks, "Who the hell is Steve?" This leads in perfectly to the next movie of this phase. The Tim Story Fantastic Four return with a third installment, which is loosely based on the limited series of the same name, with elements from First Steps and the storyline, the return of the real Doctor Doom. A lot has changed since we last saw this universe. Most notably, Reed and Sue had 2 kids. Their son Franklin is the oldest, and has the power to change the fabric of reality to his will. Their daughter Valeria is the youngest, and was born without powers, but possesses a genius-level intellect. The main conflict starts when the team gets some sort of distress signal from another dimension. This leads them to the Void, where they not only end up finding Doom's castle, but also the prisoners inside. These characters are revealed to be the Inhumans from the cancelled ABC show, Wesley Snipes' Black Panther from his cancelled movie, and the Fantastic Four from the unreleased Roger Corman movie. The inclusion of Black Panther and the Inhumans is very significant, since they made their first appearances in the Fantastic Four comics. As for the Roger Corman version of the team, it finally gives them the opportunity they never got to shine. This leads to the long-awaited encounter with Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom, and we finally learn his backstory in the first big twist of the movie. It turns out he is the original Victor Von Doom from the Tim Story universe, and was banished to the Void by Kang. For those that don't know, Robert Downey Jr. originally auditioned to play Doctor Doom in the 2005 Fantastic Four movie, but Julian McMahon got the part instead. Another important piece of trivia, Kang is a future descendant of Mr. Fantastic named Nathaniel Richards. The MCU version of Kang specifically is a future descendant of Ioan Gruffudd's Reed Richards. He foresaw RDJ's Doom as a major threat to the multiverse, and removed him from their timeline in an act of desperation. However, this brings up another question. If RDJ is the real Doom, then who is Julian McMahon supposed to be? In the second big twist of the movie, it's revealed that his true identity is Christophe Bernard. In the comics, he is Victor's adopted son and the implied biological half-brother of Mr. Fantastic, who's frequently brainwashed into believing he's the real Doctor Doom. Before he was banished, Doom made a deal with Kang to have Christophe take his place, knowing how important he is to the Fantastic Four's history. Kang, having no choice, agreed to do so, and changed the timeline to make everyone believe that Christophe is Victor Von Doom. This was all part of Doom's master plan, having a contingency in place to eventually return and enact his revenge. The one downside is that this might be the only MCU project Julian McMahon could appear in before his passing in July of 2025. I think a good solution would be to give him an unexpected redemption arc. After finding out he was manipulated and lied to, he fights back against RDJ's Doom and sacrifices himself, giving McMahon a good send-off. The Fantastic Four themselves end up trapped in the Void, and their only hope is to team up with the Inhumans, Snipes' Black Panther, and the Corman Fantastic Four to come up with an escape plan. This leads them all to meet the final major character of the movie, Miles Teller's Reed Richards, who has become the Maker. In the comics, he is Mr. Fantastic from the original Ultimate Universe that turns evil after suffering a series of tragedies and trauma. Teller's Maker has a similar backstory, but he also ended up killing his former teammates after a falling out with them. He reluctantly agrees to help, but will eventually betray everyone for his own nefarious purposes. Maybe to raise the stakes, the Roger Corman Fantastic Four heroically sacrifice themselves to save everyone during the climax, symbolically giving everyone else the chance they never got. The movie ends with Doom escaping with Franklin and Valeria to the main MCU Earth, with the Fantastic Four and all their allies going after them. The mid-credits scene shows a man and a woman in a room when they suddenly receive some kind of distress signal. The after-credits scene cuts back to the raft, where the leader wakes up realizing what he's foreseen is coming true, and plans to escape. For the next project, let's take a step back and focus on the more street-level side of things with the saga's third special presentation. The special is based on the 5-issue storyline, The Boys Are Back in Town, which sees Luke Cage and Danny Rand reunite to face off against crime lords and magical threats tied to a powerful mystical artifact. Not only would Mike Colter and Finn Jones reprise their roles, but so would many of the other actors from the Marvel Netflix shows. The most notable are Kristen Ritter as Jessica Jones, Simone Missick as Misty Knight, and Jessica Henwick as Colleen Wing. The main goal of this special is to re-establish the existing street-level heroes in the MCU, which is important for one of the upcoming projects. But before we get to that, let's look at the fourth movie of this phase. This version of the movie has a different story, but still borrows a few elements from the original. The first act would focus on the prison break at the Raft, with all the villains separated into two groups. At the beginning, the Thunderbolts consists of Yelena, Bullseye, Echo, Zeke Stane, former President Ross, now played by Harrison Ford, and the surprise return of Trish Walker, aka Hellcat. At the end of Jessica Jones Season 3, she was arrested for murdering the serial killer Gregory Salinger and sent to the Raft. Seeing as how redemption is a core driving theme of the movie, she fits in perfectly with the Thunderbolts. Zemo, the leader, the Mandarin, Abomination, and the surprise return of Diamondback from Luke Cage would form their own team, called the Masters, referencing the Masters of Evil from the comics. They end up betraying the Thunderbolts during their escape, but both groups still make it out alive. A secret Black Ops team made up of the US Agent, Red Guardian, Goliath, Ghost, and the Sentry would be sent to capture all the escapees. However, they end up joining the Thunderbolts to stop the Masters and their evil plans. Unfortunately, a few members end up dying by the end of the second act. These include Echo, Goliath, Ghost, and Red Guardian. That just leaves Yelena, US Agent, Bullseye, Zeke Stane, Red Hulk, Hellcat, and Sentry as the remaining members of the Thunderbolts. The Masters would also add a new member to their team, Amora the Enchantress, one of Zemo's contacts and allies from New Asgard. The climax would see both teams fight against each other. Maybe the Masters somehow take control of Sentry's dark alter ego, the Void, before the Thunderbolts manage to bring him back into the light. The movie ends with the Thunderbolts saving the day, and all members of the Masters dying, after they predictably turn against each other. The mid-credit scene shows the Avengers, X-Men, Fantastic Four, and the rest of the Marvel heroes asking the Thunderbolts for their help. The after-credits scene shows Wilson Fisk winning the election for mayor of New York City. It's obvious that the Kingpin is up to no good, which is partially set up and explored in the upcoming fourth special presentation. This is the one special presentation I would change entirely, since the original didn't really understand the Punisher's character. Frank Castle is supposed to be a disciplined, terrifying, and methodical Marine. He's a force of nature determined to destroy the criminal underworld until he dies, and never doubts himself. To fix this, I would instead have the special be an adaptation of the one-shot comic, The Cell. The story sees Frank intentionally get himself arrested and sent to the Rikers Island prison system. His sole mission is to hunt down and kill the 5 heads of the Draco crime family. Despite facing corrupt guards and inmates, he easily takes control and kills all his intended targets. Mayor Fisk uses the Punisher's actions in this special to justify his war on vigilantes. That brings us to the 5th movie of this phase. As of right now, I've officially caught up to the present-day MCU, and the official version of Brand New Day has only recently come out, which I haven't seen yet. Regardless of its quality, I'm still going to pitch my original idea, since it better ties into the overarching story I have planned. The same goes for any remaining projects from Phase 6 that have yet to be released. This version of the movie will loosely adapt the Devil's Reign storyline, with elements from Daredevil Born Again and the Brand New Day comic. Peter's on his own, trying to protect New York City full-time as Spider-Man, but eventually teams up with the other street-level Marvel heroes to fight Mayor Wilson Fisk and his anti-vigilante task force. In the original comic, Dr. Octopus was Kingpin's main inventor, and used his Octobot drones to fight the heroes. For the movie, I would replace Doc Ock with Alistair Smythe and his Spider Slayers. He wants to kill Spider-Man after Kingpin frames him for the murder of his father, Spencer Smythe. Other villains like Scorpion, Shocker, and Tombstone would also be hired as henchmen to fight the heroes. The only characters I'd remove are the Hulk and whoever Sadie Sink is playing. There's already way too many characters, and neither of them fit the street-level angle I'm going for. The movie ends with Kingpin being exposed and arrested for his crimes, and Peter having a peace of mind. The mid-credits scene shows the small piece of the Venom symbiote from No Way Home's post-credits scene being studied in a New York lab. The after-credits scene has the Avengers and the other Marvel heroes asking for help from Spider-Man and the rest of the street-level heroes. Now we've reached the Infinity War of the Multiverse Saga. This version of the movie is loosely based on the Children's Crusade comic, which sees the Avengers, Young Avengers, and X-Men trying to find a missing Scarlet Witch, only to discover she's fallen under Doom's control, leading to a big battle in Latveria. I already have the perfect opening in mind, which picks up from Wakanda Forever's after-credits scene and effectively demonstrates why Doom is such a big threat. Thanks to his mastery of science and magic, Doom has already single-handedly decimated the entire Wakandan army. M'Baku, Nakia, and T'Challa stay behind to fight Doom, while Shuri and Okoye escape. They put up a good fight, but T'Challa is eventually the last one standing, with his last words being,
"In my culture, death is not the end,"
before Doom delivers the final blow. Now with all the vibranium in this world at his disposal, Doom uses it to build his army of Doombots that will fight all the heroes later. For this scene, Black Panther would be played by Chadwick Boseman's stunt double in full costume, with archived audio being used to help finish his final performance, giving him a meaningful send-off. A movie like this has a lot of payoffs and answers to so many questions built up during the saga. For example, we finally learn the identity of the man and woman from the Fantastic Four's post-credits scene. They are revealed to be Ian and Jet Rogers, who we last saw cameo in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. In the comics, they are Arnim Zola's genetically engineered children who eventually join Captain America's side. For the MCU, they were secretly adopted by Steve and Peggy after foiling one of Zola's plans on an undercover S.H.I.E.L.D. mission. They both have genius-level intellect, and grow up creating their own time/dimension traveling technology based on Steve's suit. Going by Nomad and Jet Black, they make it their mission to find any threats to the multiverse. We also learn that Doom's master plan is to destroy various realities and fuse their fragments together to create a new universe in his image. He already made great use of the information given to him from the variants he imprisoned to put everything in motion. The Roger Corman Fantastic Four had genetic signatures similar enough to the Tim Story versions, which is how he was able to send a distress signal. He took over Wakanda after understanding the strengths and weaknesses of vibranium thanks to Wesley Snipes' Black Panther. Lastly, he found the main MCU Earth thanks to the Inhumans, since they were originally part of it before they were pruned out of existence. One of the reasons Doom chose this Earth specifically is because he needs the arc reactor technology for the machine he's building that will create his new world. He infiltrates Stark Industries by posing as a resurrected Tony Stark to steal what he needs, since his disfigured face bears a striking resemblance to Tony's after using the Infinity Stones. Speaking of which, Doom concludes that the arc reactor will need a big boost of energy to help power the machine on a more cosmic scale. This power comes in the form of 6 special beings that are the living embodiment of the Infinity Stones. These include Hugh Jackman's Wolverine as the Power Stone, since he's an anchor being that's been a constant in almost every universe. Wanda Maximoff as the Mind Stone, since it was the stone itself that awakened and amplified the chaos magic inside her. Ian and Jet Rogers as the Space and Time Stones, since Steve went against the established rules of the space-time continuum. Franklin Richards as the Reality Stone, since he can bend reality to his will. And finally, Peter Parker as the Soul Stone, since Spider-Man is widely considered the heart and soul of Marvel. That brings me to the other major reason Doom chose this universe. In the biggest twist of the entire franchise, it's revealed that the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe is Franklin Richards' creation. His immense power ripped a new universe into existence the moment he was born. This could easily explain all the retcons and continuity errors throughout the series, since it's basically a kid playing with his toys. It's also why Kang referred to it as the Sacred Timeline, and was so keen on protecting it since it was the product of his distant relative. Speaking of which, another part of Doom's plan is to get rid of Iron Lad, since he poses the biggest threat as a variant of Kang. He accomplishes this goal by killing Cassie, which causes a domino effect to tear all the heroes apart. Grief-stricken over Cassie's death, Iron Lad lashes out and destroys White Vision after being warned that manipulating time to save her would make things worse. Wiccan and Speed are horrified to see their father die, and Wanda is even more heartbroken witnessing his death for a third time. This causes a rift between them, and for Wanda's full power to be unleashed, which is exactly what Doom wanted. The saddest part is when Iron Lad uses Vision's powers from the Mind Stone to see visions of his future as Kang the Conqueror. Finally embracing his destiny, he just leaves, abandoning his former allies and waiting to see whatever the future holds. This also helps to set him up as the Kang we'll see in the MCU's soft reboot. The climax is where things get even worse. Not only does Doom collect all 6 of the special beings and power his machine, but he also manages to steal the power cosmic from the Tim Story Silver Surfer. He uses that power to rebirth the Tim Story Galactus into the body of the dead Celestial from Thor Eternal, resulting in the Earth's destruction. The movie ends with the creation of Battle World. Victor rules over as God Emperor Doom, and all the heroes are scattered in different groups across the planet. The mid-credits scene shows the Maker planning to steal Doom's power for himself. The after-credits scene cuts to the farthest reaches of space, where an alarm goes off inside an alien ship, and one of the passengers is ready to fight the incoming threat. The identity of this new character is answered in the next movie. The movie is loosely based on the 10-issue series of the same name, but has more of an original story, and takes place simultaneously with Doomsday, explaining Thor's absence. It also serves as a payoff to his throwaway line in Endgame.
The Asgardians of the galaxy back together again.
Since the MCU is going to softly reboot soon, it feels like a good excuse to do a project like this while the Guardians' popularity is still high. Not only do Kid Loki, Valkyrie, and Lady Sif go with Thor on his quest, but they're also joined by Rocket and Groot's new team of Guardians, which is also the perfect opportunity to better flesh them out. Itiri could also show up for a cameo, reforging Mjolnir for Thor after the broken pieces were retrieved from New Asgard. This is done so Thor can give Stormbreaker to the new character teased during Doomsday's post-credits scene, who's revealed to be Beta Ray Bill. His existence has already been alluded to, since a sculpture of his face was seen on the facade of the Grandmaster's palace in Ragnarok. In the comics, he's a genetically engineered warrior created by the Corbinites to protect their race, after the destruction of their homeworld at the hands of Surtur. His MCU counterpart has the same backstory, and he forms a connection with Thor, since they both want to protect others from any major threat. As for the main villain, I think a character like Mangog would be a good choice. In the comics, he's the living embodiment of the hatred of a billion beings slaughtered by Odin, and was imprisoned beneath Asgard. However, since Asgard was already destroyed in the MCU, he was set free, and spent the following decades slowly regaining his power, to get revenge on all the remaining Asgardians. To heighten the tension, some of the characters will be killed off, either sacrificing themselves or dying at the hands of Mangog. These characters include Valkyrie, Lady Sif, Blurp, and Kraglin. That just leaves Thor, Kid Loki, Beta Ray Bill, Rocket, Groot, Adam Warlock, Phyla, and Cosmo as the remaining members. The movie ends with Mangog being defeated and the team going back to Earth. The mid-credits scene shows them reaching Earth, only to witness its destruction and their ship crash landing on the newly formed Battle World. The after-credits scene shows Doctor Strange and Clea arriving in the Dark Dimension, where Baron Mordo and Dormammu are waiting for them. That brings us to the penultimate movie of this phase. Concluding his trilogy, the movie is loosely based on the Time Runs Out storyline, and takes place simultaneously with Doomsday and Asgardians of the Galaxy. Strange and Clea form a team made up of a few Marvel heroes from other universes. This includes Wesley Snipes' Blade, Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider, and both Man-Thing and Werewolf by Night from the first special presentation. This creates a multiversal version of the Midnight Suns. There's been speculation about a potential MCU project based on this team, and I think this would be a good compromise that fits within the theme of the multiverse. As for the villains, not only do Baron Mordo and Dormammu return, but we also get a few more characters from the Dark Dimension, like Umar, Dormammu's powerful twin sister, and Clea's mother. Satanish, a powerful demon lord created as an extension of Dormammu. Maybe we could also see the return of Caecilius and his zealots, since they were pulled into the Dark Dimension at the end of the first movie. Strange would also learn more about the incursions, and a possible way to prevent them to save any universe, especially his own. The movie ends with the villains defeated, and Strange heading back to his reality with his new team. The mid-credits scene shows Strange and the Midnight Suns arriving on the newly formed Battle World. The after-credits scene shows God Emperor Doom sitting on his throne, as he prepares to fight all those that oppose him. That brings us to the final movie and the end of this entire saga. This is what everything has been building up to. This is the culmination not only of an entire saga, but also of every Marvel movie franchise from previous decades. It's the last time we're ever going to see these versions of the characters and the actors portraying them, so they might as well go out on a high note. The movie is based on the 2015 Secret Wars comic, with a few elements from the original 1984 version. The most notable example is when Tom Holland's Spider-Man finally gets the black suit from the symbiote. That brings me to the three major heroic sacrifices made in this movie. The first being Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, which is inspired by the original Ultimate Comics. Dane DeHaan's Harry Osborn is brought in by Doom and transformed into a more monstrous version of the Green Goblin. They have one final battle which ends with him giving up his life to save whatever group he was with at the time. The second is Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. His scene recreates an iconic moment from the Days of Future Past comic that was cut from the 2014 movie since he became the main time traveler instead of Kitty Pryde. The group of heroes get ambushed by Super Sentinels, vastly upgraded versions of the mutant hunting robots. Wolverine distracts them long enough for everyone to escape, but he's finally killed when one of them blasts him with a powerful energy beam that vaporizes his flesh and leaves nothing but a charred adamantium skeleton behind. The third and final major sacrifice comes from Chris Evans' Human Torch. Remember Captain America's big hero moment in Endgame? Now Evans gets the opportunity to do the same thing again with his other iconic Marvel role. The scene itself recreates a memorable moment from Jonathan Hickman's run on the Fantastic Four. The heroes need to reach an important destination, but they're being followed and hunted by an army of monstrous creatures. Johnny pushes everyone to safety and seals the entrance to face the army alone. The monsters charge straight at him, and knowing this is his last stand, he courageously shouts, "One last time," "Flame on!" and engulfs himself in flames before unleashing his supernova. This is the main reason I cut his original cameo from Deadpool and Wolverine. Instead of going out like a joke, here, Johnny gets to go out as the hero he's always wanted to be, brave enough to make the ultimate sacrifice and save the ones he loves. The climax would also feature one last big battle. Maybe Griffith's Mr. Fantastic could also have a major confrontation with Doom and the Maker. As for Doom himself, I think his defeat could be similar to the LEGO Marvel Superheroes video game, which also gives Michael Chiklis the opportunity to say the Thing's iconic catchphrase, "One last time."
Defeated? It cannot be! I'm Dr. Doom! Sorry, Doc, but you know what? It's finally clobbering time!
The movie ends with a major reset, with Franklin using his powers to combine every previous Earth into a single new universe. One of the only few not to be recast is Tom Holland's Spider-Man. The in-universe reason could be that the symbiote protects its host from anything it considers a threat. It also gives Peter more baggage being the only one to remember the events of the previous universe. The mid-credits scene offers a glimpse of this new world, now inhabited by all the Marvel characters, and the possibilities it holds. As for the after-credits scene, I was thinking it could be a tribute celebrating nearly 20 years of the MCU's existence. All the cast and crew stand together with Kevin Feige to thank the audience for watching all these years. Okay, let's look at the timeline one last time. Seriously, this is it. From 2025 to 2027, Phase 6 consisted of 9 new movies, 2 new special presentations, and the last 3 seasons of What If. This makes it the phase with the most projects in the Multiverse Saga, like how Phase 3 was for the Infinity Saga.
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
And that concludes my revision of the entire MCU Multiverse Saga. Now that it's all over, what do you think? Was it better than what we got? Did I make any improvements? Whatever your thoughts, leave them in the comments below. I hope I can do more of these revisions in the future, because believe me, I have a lot more ideas in mind. Like and subscribe for more. See ya!